And welcome back to American Agenda. I'm Heather Childers along with Bob Sellers. Former President Trump throwing his support behind Congresswoman Elise Stefanik as she moves quickly to possibly replace a Trump enemy, some say, Congresswoman Liz Cheney, to take over the leadership role in the GOP. Well, Mr. Trump releasing a statement today saying Elise Stefanik is a far superior choice and she has my complete and total endorsement for GOP conference chair. Elise is a tough and smart communicator. This comes as Cheney's bitter feud with Trump left her increasingly isolated in the House GOP. So what exactly does this mean for the GOP? And I'll start with you, Jesse Jane. What do you think?
Well, Elise is a phenomenal woman. I actually got to meet her on the campaign for President Trump in Iowa. She is very direct, very well researched, very wise, and she pays attention to what the American people are saying and her constituents. Apparently, Liz Cheney has become tone deaf, let alone just for her position on Afghanistan alone, gives the impression that she is in Biden's back pocket. When we saw her fist bump the president of the United States and then Democrats come out and support her position against President Trump and the election in 2020, she sends a clear message to the never-Trumpers and Democrats that she's batting for their team. It does not give any type of resolution towards those that supported the president of the United States, President Trump, with the 75 million voters. They feel that she is against them and not with them.
Well, just to bring everyone else up to speed, in case you don't remember, Congresswoman Cheney did vote in favor of impeachment. Congresswoman Stefanik did not. But it does seem like there's a lot of reasons possibly that Congresswoman Cheney is falling out of favor. Listen to this, and I'll get your statement on this interesting statement that Congressman Ted Cruz. Actually, that's not what I thought we were going to talk about. I want to bring this up. I want to bring up McCarthy. I want to bring up the House Minority Leader, Kevin McCarthy, what he had to say about Liz Cheney when he was caught on this hot mic moment. Listen.
I think she's got real problems. I've had it with it. It's, I've lost confidence. Well, someone just has to bring the motion, but I assume that would probably take place.
All right, Chuck. So is it the beginning of the end for Congresswoman Cheney?
It ought to be. Listen, it's anybody but Cheney. She has caused a disaster in her wake, and I think Republicans have to move on from that. She lies and lies and lies and does the Democrats work for them. I think her leadership in this party has ended.
Bob, you and I have discussed that. We've talked about this great divide, if there is a great divide within this party.
There does seem to be one. I guess the challenge you have is what a lot of people are calling rhinos like Mitt Romney and Liz Cheney, Republicans in name only. And then maybe some people that are not rhinos. They are Republicans, but maybe not Trump supporters. How do they win without Trump supporters? And how do the Trump candidates win without some of the other votes? Here's what I wonder about Liz Cheney is, do you want her in a position of leadership in the Republican Party when the polls in her own state show that she's in trouble there? If she doesn't get reelected, that doesn't help. That leader should be so solid that he or she should be able to give their attention to other people throughout the country as well.
Yeah, and then Derrick, that leads into the question as to, how important is it for these candidates to get the endorsement? Because obviously the former president not happy with Liz Cheney of late, and she's not doing well in her home state and now going to lose her leadership role.
Well, I would first say we all need to watch these hot mics, okay? That's the first thing. But for years, I've said that the party, we need, first of all, the focus should be on a unified message that's going to allow us to win the House back. And so often, the Republican Party, our party, we don't have a unifying message, and we're not all singing on the same accord. But for the first time now, it appears as though we are. And so here's Liz Cheney. She's not. So she needs to go. Because it's that important that we're all singing from the same hymn book and that we're all saying the same thing, because the Dems and the liberals, they do it every single day. It's as if they go in and get their notes for the day and everybody comes out saying the exact same thing, and we need to take a page from their playbook and make sure that we do that going forward.
Well, going forward, as you just mentioned, to 2022, we can bring this up now. This picture that was taken over the weekend, Congressman Ted Cruz posted it dining with the former president at Mar-a-Lago. And in it, you can see that he says that they talked about working together to retake the House and the Senate in 2022. Jesse Jane, I do want to go back to you, though, and bring up once again Congresswoman Stefanik, because if you do take a look at some of these groups, these think tanks that do these numbers, and they talk about who has voted more when it comes to conservative causes in line with the former president under President Trump. And the numbers actually show that Liz Cheney voted more favorably in terms of, along the lines of Donald Trump, 77%, I think, versus Congresswoman Stefanik, that was about 40% of the time.
Yes, I do appreciate there was some criticism of Stefanik over some of the issues that were conjoined with President Trump. But however, when the rubber meets the road, Stefanik stood up for him. She went out there and debated hard with the Freedom Caucus against his impeachment. She questioned the witnesses relentlessly. She was well-versed. She has come a long way from those days. And when it comes to what really matters, most of what Liz Cheney was supporting, we also saw Democrats supporting too. I mean, we had a robust economy. We had definitely low unemployment rates, and we had the border wall. But now I think that Stefanik is listening to the voters, and Liz Cheney became tone deaf. I go back to a 20-year war in Afghanistan where the industrial complex is profiting off of many people going overseas and dying for something that we no longer even know what the side of our mission is. When they try to scare us with ISIS or they'll come here, those are Bush talking points from 20 years ago. Oh, I'm sorry, Bush Cheney talking points from 20 years ago. And they're still regurgitating the same thing. It's called mission creep. You were supposed to get in and get out. Yeah. And Liz Cheney's not giving me any messaging on how to get the heck out. That's cost us billions and billions of dollars and countless American lives.
All right. Well, possibly this is a way to move forward and to stop the mission creep. Thank you so much for all of that, everyone.